Earlier on, when he was talking to me about photography, he says, now you must not take anything for granted when you're looking at a picture. Never do that. Every single little tiny space on that page works and counts.
It seemed so almost cack-handed, because there'd be things missing maybe where you expected to see maybe a complete figure or a complete component or a subject. It might be split or cut off, or there'd be weird things maybe sometimes happening around the edge of the picture, which turn out to be incredibly important in terms of understanding Eggleston's aesthetic.
William Eggleston's work is rooted in his origins. He comes from a well-to-do family, but owned several cotton plantations in Tallahatchie County in Mississippi. Bill Jr. grew up in Sumner, in his grandparents' house, where his cousin lives today.
Bill was the first grandchild, and my grandfather went absolutely just crazy over this child, from what I've heard, because he was a child and a new victim, and he was also a boy, and he had never had sons, so I think he just pretty much commandeered Bill from the get-go. So my grandparents, I don't say they kidnapped him, but they had a lot to do with his upbringing here, and they had lots of servants here, and it was just a great household from what I understand.
Agriculture has always been the greatest single activity of the southeastern people. Nearly half of them are directly dependent upon the soil, with greatest proportions in Mississippi and Arkansas.
An unusual youth, described by his mother as brilliant and strange, Eggleston amused himself by playing the piano, building electronic gadgets, and even bugging his own family with hidden microphones. Never academically inclined, he nonetheless spent 6 years at various universities, studying art, but without ever graduating. Meanwhile, around him, America was changing. The car was reshaping society. Suburbs, shopping malls, and drive-ins were sprouting like a fungus across the South.
Bill at one time said to his great, highly respected friend, well, what am I going to photograph? Everything around here is so ugly. And our friend said, photograph the ugly stuff. Well, we are surrounded everywhere with this plethora of shopping centers and ugly stuff. And so that is really initially what he started photographing.
We all sort of thought alike in this way, that none of us was interested in what back then, it was a long time ago, was considered art photography, which was very large negative landscapes, people like Ansel Adams, Everett Weston.
In the mid-1960s, Eggleston changed the course not only of his career, but of photography. He shot his first roll of colour film.
Let's go back to the 60s. A lot of it in Las Vegas, actually. And that's the way people looked back then.
His colour is just sort of the colour of nothing, if you like. It's just ordinary life. And it's funny that, originally he started in black and white, he moved to colour. And I guess for him it wasn't an issue, but in the time you have to understand, if you're a serious photographer, you had to be working in black and white. So when he came along and did this sort of nothingness colour, it wasn't decorative, it was just ordinary life. It was quite radical because it was just so underplayed, and it took us a long time to understand and appreciate that.
They all look alike.
There's probably 20 different ones of the same exact house, you know.
Now, why is that good? I mean, look at her face. She's sort of acknowledging him being there, and yet there's something disturbing about her. It's great, and the chain is just wonderful. I mean, you would pray to have a chain like that, and just to use it as a prop. And of course, it's just a pure coincidence that it just happens to be there with that woman. So, serendipity.
You want to get out and walk around, or?
Not quite yet. Still looking.
Eggleston is not best known for his portrait work. A shy man, he seldom dares to invade people's private space with his camera. But when he does capture them, he does it so gently and fleetingly that they often don't realise.
I remember him having me sit still for what felt like hours, you know, when I was 4 or 5 years old. But he did that to his advantage, because he couldn't do that to your average, you know, woman sitting on a street corner. He couldn't tell them to be still. So he used that to his advantage. And I became really good at it, at being still and not looking at the camera and being very comfortable in front of the camera, you know, doing whatever it is that I was doing, but knowing that there was always somebody looking at me. I think he was trying things out, you know. He was sort of experimenting on me, because I don't think that that's the way that he actually takes pictures.
He got really into collecting Leica screw-mount bodies and Canon, and I remember he bought this briefcase and had it specially made to where he could keep all of his cameras in here, put these little separator things on here, and you know, I just remember these all over the house, and he'd get one in every other day and do things to them, modify them, or try to take them apart, you know, stuff like that. He's always enjoyed cameras, almost like he has guns. He really likes guns a lot. Not that he likes to shoot, but he just likes the way they feel and the way they're made, and like he says, the precision of them and all that, and it kind of goes together with cameras in a way.
So that is a picture, pretty well-known photograph of Dad's, and this was very typical. Dad used to take me around with him a lot shooting, and this is probably Mississippi, or, you know, the outskirts of Memphis. He made me stand there for that picture, but you can see how excited I was. I froze like, you know, little kids do.
This boy looks like he could have just fallen from the sky, from another world, which again, of course, connects to this very powerful capacity that Eggleston has when he's actually photographing the world around us, as if it's the strangest possible place.